Hello and welcome to the program from the State Assemblies, your window into the workings of Nigeria's state legislatures. On this episode, Kogi lawmakers approve 2026 appropriation bill. Ebonyi Assembly passes 885.8 billion naira revised 2026 budget. Plus, lawmakers approve 2026 budget of strategic consolidation. Details of this and more stories will be coming your way shortly. I am your host, Amina Saidu. Thank you for staying with us. In the week under review, Kogi State House of Assembly has passed the 2026 appropriation bill of 820.49 billion naira as presented by Governor Usman Odudu. This followed the presentation of the report of the House Standing Committee on Appropriations, Budget Monitoring and Economic Planning. Jacob Sani has more.
Left-hand side is also
the Kogi State House of Assembly Committee on Appropriations, Budget Monitoring and Economic Planning, during the presentation of its report, says the committee took a comprehensive analysis on the 2026 proposed budget estimates, with particular interest on revenue estimate given the economic reality and the state executive development capacity. Acute shortage of power across ministries and parastatals is said to be affecting the state adversely. Chairman of the committee recommends that such should be addressed and calls for the House to adopt the report.
The committee extends its gratitude to the Right Honourable Speaker, the committee chairman, class of various committees and all stakeholders who contributed to this process, particularly during the public hearing, for their timely responses and valuable inputs. The committee respectively called on the Honourable House to adopt this report and proceed with the passage of the appropriation estimate 2026 at the Committee of Supply as detailed under the annex I so submit.
Other lawmakers aligned with the submission.
I want to align myself totally with this report, that the report is so encompassed with all that has transpired.
Thereafter, the House moved into the Committee of the Whole, where clause-by-clause consideration of the report was carried out before its passage.
Third and final reading. The appropriation bill of the sum of 820 billion 490 million 585,443 naira is hereby passed into law by Kogi State House of Assembly.
The Speaker says the legislature will continue to promote healthy relationship with the executive for the good of the people.
To our executive, we appreciate them for coming to defend what they are giving, and with the passage of this budget, we hope and pray that they will hit the ground running, understanding that the year 2026 involves many things.
The House also passed 4 bills for second reading at the plenary, which include the Kogi State Public Audit Law 2025, Kogi State Internal Revenue Service Establishment Law 2025, among others.
Now, the Ebonyi State House of Assembly has passed into law the 2026 revised budget of 885.8 billion naira. State Assembly correspondent Samuel Oppo reports that the budget, tagged Budget of Actualization and Hope, was passed 1 month after its presentation to the House by the State Governor, Francis Nwifuru.
The Ebonyi State House of Assembly was on 25th of November 2025 presented with a budget estimate of 884,868,327,429 naira 94 kobo by the State Governor, Francis Nwifuru. The bill was, however, referred to the House Committee on Appropriation after its second reading. Presenting the committee's report, the chairman, House Committee on Appropriation and leader of the House, Chief Kingsley Ikoro, said the committee conducted a thorough review of the budget and invited various ministries, departments and agencies to defend their proposals. He explained that several adjustments were made in areas deemed necessary by the committee to reflect the needs of the state in the various sectors.
The committee took their time, had different sittings, looked into the budget, invited all the MDAs to come and defend their budget.
Shortly after the presentation of the report by the Appropriation Committee and its adoption as a working document, the House dissolved into a committee of the whole, after which it reconvened into plenary following a motion moved by the House leader, Kingsley Ikoro, and seconded by the member representing Ohaukwu North State Constituency, Mrs. Esther Agu. Announcing progress after committee of the whole, the Speaker of the House, Right Honorable Moses Ije Odunwa, disclosed that the revised budget allotted personnel cost the total sum of 57,488,355,402 naira 52 kobo and the sum of 72,770,440,113 naira 44 kobo for overhead costs, while capital expenditure go up to the sum of 755,548,322,583 naira 22 kobo, thereby bringing the total approved budget for the 2026 fiscal year to 885,807,118,099 naira 18 kobo, indicating an upward review of 938,790,669 naira 24 kobo.
885,807,118,099 naira 18 kobo as total budgeted expenditure for 2026 and is hereby passed into law.
With each passage, the budget now awaits the governor's assent to become a working document for the 2026 fiscal year.
Moving on, the Nasarawa State House of Assembly has passed the 2026 appropriation bill of 545.1 billion naira tagged Budget of Strategic Consolidation for assent. Adams Abdulkadir reports.
Exactly 4 weeks, on the 26th of November 2025, Governor Abdullahi Sule laid before the Maze the 2026 appropriation bill of 517.5 billion naira tagged Budget of Strategic Consolidation, which is 41.1 billion naira higher than that of 2025 budget of economic growth and stability. The House of Assembly jacked up the budget to over 27.1 billion naira, attributed to inflation and complaints of MDAs during budget defense that their budget projections have been downsized by the State Ministry of Finance. Now, the 2026 budget stood at 545.1 billion naira, with capital expenditure of 316.2 billion naira and a recurrent expenditure of 228.7 billion naira. Still on the floor, the House also witnessed the presentation of a committee report on a bill seeking the establishment of the Nasarawa State College of Leadership and Social Development, TOTO. The House eventually passed for assent a bill to repeal and reenact harmonization and administration of all revenues in Nasarawa State. In the meantime, the Nasarawa State House of Assembly has lifted the 3-month suspension of Lafia Local Government Chairman Mohammed Haribu following the letter of withdrawal of the suit filed against the Nasarawa State House of Assembly and read before the House by the Speaker, Dr. Danladi Jatto.
And by the leave of Mr. Speaker himself, and by the strength of this letter brought before us from the courts, I hereby move that the suspension on the Lafia Local Government Chairman, Honorable Mohammed Arabu, be lifted in the spirit of understanding, in the spirit of humility, in the spirit of discipline, so that he can resume his duty.
The suspension order on the Executive Chairman of Lafia Local Government be suspended. Say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The suspension order on the Executive Chairman of Lafia Local Government by this Honorable House is hereby lifted.
Dr. Danladi Jatto, however, declared a 6-week Christmas recess.
You're watching the program from the State Assemblies, a program that reviews legislative activities in the State House of Assembly across the nation. We now take a break. When we return, Ogun lawmakers approve 2026 budget, pass 2025 revised appropriation bill, as UOB Assembly considers bill to reenact Rural Electrification Commission. Stay with us.
Some moments never fade. Some debates still echo, and some decisions continue to shape our future. Stay back in time with us as we revisit the redefining plenary sections of Nigeria's National Assembly. From intensive debates to landmark legislations, from voices of yesterday to lessons for today, we bring history alive. This is from the archives, where the past speaks to the present, and history guides the future. We write history, revisit the debates. From the archives, only on NTA Parliament. Watch us on DSTV channel, Go TV channel, Star Times channel, and free to air.
The program continues. Ogun State House of Assembly has passed the year 2026 appropriation bill of 1.668 trillion naira with upward reviews of the state's internally generated revenue of over 2.1 billion naira. The lawmakers also passed the year 2025 revised appropriation bill and the revised medium-term expenditure framework for the year 2026 to 2028. State House Assembly correspondent Yemi Dalemo completes the report.
The passage of the appropriation bill follows the presentation of the report of the House Committee on Finance and Appropriation by the chairman, Musefiu Lamidi, who moved the motion for its adoption, seconded and supported by the whole House through a voice vote. Chairman House Committee on Finance and Appropriation, Musefiu Lamidi, informed that the lawmakers adjusted the budget proposals of 3 MDAs, part of which led to a slight upward review of the internally generated revenue to the tune of 2.193 billion naira, while same figure was reduced from capital receipts, retaining the total actual budget expenditure of 1.668 trillion naira, earlier presented to the lawmakers by the Governor, Dapo Abiodun.
Committee of Finance and Appropriation hereby recommends that the Commissioner for Finance and Accountant General of the State shall ensure that revenue accrued to the State as set out in the third schedule is paid directly into the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the State. 8. The Commissioner for Finance and Accountant General of the State shall release to the 3 arms of government, legislative, executive, and judiciary, on monthly basis, a reasonable amount from the total annual budget of each arm based on the revenue accruing to the state and the priorities of the state.
The bill was later read and adopted clause by clause before the Committee of the whole House, after which the clerk, Shakiru Adebakin, took the third reading of the bill.
Third reading.
Mr. I hereby that the framework of the number 027/2025, the 2025 revised appropriation bill is sent to the Governor of the State, His Excellency Prince Dapo Abiodun CON for his assent.
The lawmakers had earlier passed the year 2025 revised appropriation bill and that of the revised medium-term expenditure framework for year 2026 to 2028. In the meantime, the former Deputy Minority Leader of the House and member representing Abeokuta South 1 State Constituency, Lukman Atobatele, has announced his resignation from the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and his decision to join the All Progressive Congress (APC), citing internal conflict and lack of a clear direction from the PDP leadership as part of reasons for his defection. This was confirmed in a letter read at plenary by the Speaker of the House, Oludaisi Elemide, who reiterated that members of the Assembly irrespective of party affiliation, remain one united legislative family committed to working in harmony.
Still in Ogun, the State House of Assembly has passed a bill establishing the Ogun State Agricultural Land Management Agency. The bill mandates the deployment of a comprehensive framework for responsible and inclusive land-intensive agricultural investment to provide clear guidelines for land allocation and management in the state. Again, Yemi Dalemo completes the report.
The passage of the bill followed the presentation of the report of the Joint Committees on Agriculture, Lands and Housing, led by the chairman, Waliu Owode. The bill was thereafter read and adopted clause by clause before the Committee of the Whole House, while the clerk, Shakiru Adebakin, thereafter conducted the third reading of the bill.
Agricultural Land Management Agency 2025 Prince Adedapo Abiodun COM for his assent.
The lawmakers, before engaging the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development and other MDAs for the 2026 budget defense session, confirmed the nomination of Abdul Najim Olayinka as the new Auditor General for local governments in the state. The House Committee on Finance and Appropriations at the budget defense session commended the Women Empowerment Initiative as well as the synergy with the House of Assembly of the State Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development in addressing issues affecting women and other vulnerable groups in the state. The House, during the exercise, sent a clear message to all MDAs to ensure that public resources are planned, allocated and utilized in a transparent, efficient and impartial manner to promote quality service delivery. Chairman, Committee on Finance and Appropriation, gave the advice while rounding off the exercise, urging MDAs to prioritize accountability, probity, and value for government resources.
Let me emphasize that the 2026 budget will be assessed not merely by the size of allocations, but by credibility of revenue projections, prudent and disciplined expenditure, measurable outcomes and deliverables, consistency with the state's development priorities.
With the exercise concluded, the Finance and Appropriation Committees is expected to present its report before the Committee of the Whole House at the next plenary for the third reading and passage of the 2026 Appropriation Bill.
In another development, the Yobe State House of Assembly has received a report of the House Standing Committee on Transport and Energy on a bill for an act to repeal and reenact the Rural Electrification Commission. This is to generate, supply, transmit, and sell electricity at rural areas of the state. Babagana Kolo has more.
At the end of the year 2025, the Yobe State Assembly received the report from the chairman of the committee, Saminu Musa Lawan.
There is a need to reenact the short title of the bill, indicate the laws to repeal and reenact. 2. That there is a need to amend Protocol of the bill to state clearly qualification and appointment of the chairman of the commission to provide for 3 members, 1 from each notarial district of the state.
The House, at the Committee of the Whole, members debated the development in the bill. Thereafter, lawmakers unanimously adopted the report. In another development, the Speaker of the House, Turo Mabuba Mashio, alongside other members of the Assembly, witnessed the signing of the 2026 Appropriation and Finance Bill by Gomnomai Malabuni, where the Speaker pointed out some successes recorded by the House in the year 2025.
With the formal assent to the 2026 Finance and Appropriation Bills by His Excellency the Executive Governor of Yobe State, Honorable Mai Malabuni CON, the collective will of this August House of Assembly has formally taken full effect, thereby paving the framework for governance, development, and public service in the year ahead. With the support of Your Excellency, the successful review and compilation of the law laws of Yobe State 2024 stand as another remarkable milestone achieved by the 8th Assembly under your administration.
Now, the second session of Gombe State Youth Parliament has highlighted a growing willingness among Gombe youths to drive policy and demand tangible benefits for their generation. Abbas Mekano reports that the session was presided by Speaker Aliu Danladi.
The Gombe State Youth Parliament convened its second session at the State House of Assembly's Conference Hall, drawing representatives from all the 24 constituencies. The atmosphere was charged as members tackled a packed agenda aimed at shaping the future of the state youth. The motions that won unanimous support include the Industrialization Framework and the Gombe State Youth Development Commission, both designed to create jobs and boost global competitiveness for young people. Another motion called for improved cancer treatment services in Nafata constituency, underscoring the Parliament's focus on health as well as economic empowerment. Deputy Speaker Asabliatu Lewi urged the state government to institute regular allowances for youth parliamentarians, a plea echoed by Maria Mohammed of Gombe North. Speaker Aliu Danladi commended the members for their commitment and concern, promising to back their initiatives.
Going so far, and for the Gombe State Parliament, which is a training ground, we can see that a lot of our young parliamentarians are learning the parliamentary process. So if I'm to assess, I'll give it a 99 over 100. That's the tell you the truth.
In a show of confidence, the House unanimously endorsed Clerk Aminu Aluswa and House Clerk Barrister Rukaya Ademujalo.
You can bear me witness the level of our deliberations, the motions. You wouldn't believe that this is just their second sitting. They are picking off, they are assimilating the whole thing, and I'm really impressed with the kind of interest they're having toward youth development in the state.
A sponsored bill to establish the Gombe State Youth Development Commission 2025 was introduced and will be taken up at the next sitting.
And with that report, we come to the end of this week's episode of the program from the State Assemblies. Remember, you can still watch this episode, news and other programs on our social media handles showing on your screen. Thank you for watching. I remain your host, Amina Saidu.